right, everybody, I am back. It took me a minute to get started again. It always does. I have to create a regular posting schedule, and I will do that. Today is Sunday, September 4th, and my subject today is going to be talking about resting, and not just resting, but resting well. I started working on it last night, and then this morning I got up and finished, and the strangest thing happened as I got closer to finishing the last verse that I was working on that I wanted to talk about. I started to have pain in my stomach, like menstrual cramps, and I don't have a uterus anymore, so no need for a menstrual cramp at all, but it started to happen, and I couldn't even get to the last verse and finish writing that out and how I wanted to talk about it, because my stomach started hurting so bad, like a sharp pain. So I went in the bathroom, and then it just got more intense, and more intense, to the fact I just got on the floor, because you know the bathroom floor just is, it's like a cooling place. And I balled up, and it was so bad, and I got clammy, started getting sweaty, and I'm like, okay, should I go to the hospital? And of course I started praying, and it shortly eased on up, and I'm like, okay, not today, devil. I'm gonna record this message, and I'm gonna get it out. After the pain eased up, I went upstairs and showered. Now, before I walked away from my desk to go in the bathroom, I took some Motrin. The Motrin, just 5 minutes. It hadn't even had time to work. So it was just God just easing the pain and giving me the strength to go ahead and move forward with getting the message out today. So I went shower, got myself together, and I'm back. So I'm here to talk about rest. In our culture today, rest is not appreciated, is not encouraged, is not enforced. We talk about hustle, grinding, get in where you fit, like all the sayings, and never are we told to rest. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for about 20 years now, and one of the most important things to do when you're not feeling well or to help with your healing is to rest. That is when your body can work the best to heal, is when you rest. They recommend 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Not everybody needs that. Some people could run off of 4 to 6 hours, but rest is important, and not just resting, but resting well. And so today's title is going to be called Rest Well, and I broke it down for y'all. The word rest means to cease work or movement in order to relax, refresh, and to recover in your strength. And well means in a good or satisfactory way. So rest well. Cease to work in order to relax, refresh, and recover your strength in a good or satisfactory way. The first Bible verse I'm going to talk about is Exodus 33:14. Moses said to the Lord, I'll start at 12 just to give you a little context. Moses said to the Lord, you have been telling me, lead these people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. You have said, I know you by name, and you have found favor with me. If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways so I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people. So he was asking God, like, who going with me? You telling me to lead these people? Who gonna go with me? Like, who gonna have my back, in other words? And the Lord's reply to him, it comes in Exodus 14. The Lord replied, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Right? So you're gonna find rest where? In the presence of the Lord. And I'm gonna read this and break it down in the definition of rest. I'm gonna put that in the verse. It says, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest, meaning I will allow you to cease or stop working in order to relax, refresh, and recover your strength. So in him you will find rest. That's my first. And that's Exodus 33:14. My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. So rest. You have to get in a place of resting. I'm gonna back up for a minute, because what I meant to start it with was Ecclesiastes 3:1. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heaven. There's going to be a time to fight. There's going to be time to pray, and then there's going to be a time when you have to do nothing but rest, because you've done all you can and the rest is up to God, and you just have to rest. And that's what this message is about. The second Bible verse is Psalm 62 verse 1. It says, my soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from him. And I'm going to break it down again. My soul finds rest, meaning my soul is ceasing or stopping work in order to relax, refresh, and recover in your strength. Your strength, not your own, is the Lord's strength that you're finding rest, relaxation, recover, and refresh in. And my salvation comes from the Lord. The next one is Proverbs 19:23, and I am reading from the NIV version of the Bible. The next is Proverbs 19:23. Oh, I skipped one. We're going to go back. Psalm 91 is the next. I wanted to bring about resting. Psalms 91 verse 1 says, he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Okay, we're going to break it down a little. He who dwells meaning to live in. He who lives in the shelter meaning protection. He who lives in the protection of the Most High, the Lord, will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Rest again, meaning you stop working, you relax, you recover, and you refresh in the shadow of the Almighty. He who lives in the protection of the Most High will stop working in order to relax, recover, and refresh your strength in the shadow. And I even looked up shadow, and one definition of shadow is meaning proximity or next to of the Almighty God. So once again, you resting in him, you resting near him, you resting by him, you resting with him. The next is Proverbs 19:23. The fear of the Lord leads to life. Then one rests content, untouched by trouble. Proverbs 19:23. The fear of the Lord leads to life. Then one rests content, untouched by him. So I'm going to just back up a little more, back to what we was talking about with Ecclesiastes 3:1. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the sun. I was in a place where a transition had to happen. It was a wilderness season for me for several months. I was stripped of extra income. I was stripped of distractions. I was stripped of love life. Everything that was keeping me out of the presence of the Lord was stripped from me. And that brought me to a place in the presence of the Lord where I had to get in front of God and ask him, what is it? Why me? What did I do? And as time went on, he began to show me things about myself, show me things about my life. And during that time, I got into a place where I had to contend for the things I wanted through prayer and fasting and believing, because part of prayer and fasting is believing. You can do all that, but if you don't believe, you won't receive. And that's in that book. You have to believe. So I went through a place of contending. I also went through a place of disbelief. I went through doubt, uncertainty. I've been through all of that. And then I got to a place where I thought I was resting. But I wasn't resting well because I allowed myself to get discouraged. And it felt like I was starting over again. But during this time, I was equipping myself with the word of the Lord and encouraging family and friends And so I wasn't starting over. I just had to get back in place. And so now I am in a place of rest, and I'm just not resting. I'm resting well and learning the word, not just learning the word, but studying it, not just reading it, but studying it and remembering it so I can apply it to my life. And that's so important. When you learn in the Bible, you don't just read it just to say you read it. And that's what I've done for many years. And probably a lot of you can relate. You read it, you get you a dictionary or get to a computer and you break down those words so you can have a better understanding and remember, and use some index cards so you can remember what you read and learn how to apply it to your life. So I am resting, and I am resting well. Okay, I'm not working. I am refreshed, not working in the physical because I still have to work, but I'm not working. I'm not worrying. I am relaxing. I am refreshing, and I am recovering. And I've been asking God to renew my strength. This day, give me my daily bread. Renew my strength. And so we left off on Proverbs 19:23. The fear of the Lord leads to life. Then one rests content, untouched by God. And so I broke it down. Fear meaning profound reverence, and then I broke that down. Profound meaning intense, reverence meaning honor and respect. So the intense honor and respect of the Lord leads to life. Then one will cease work to relax, refresh, and recover, untouched by trouble. And what's so amazing about this book that we just happen to have in our house is that it tells you what you need to do when you're going through things. You tired, rest. And you don't just rest, you rest well, and you rest in the Lord. The intense honor and respect of the Lord leads to life. Simple instructions. And then one will cease work to relax, refresh oneself, content and untouched by trouble. And if we can just learn to trust in his word and apply it to life, it gets easier. I promise you it does. And the last one is Matthew 11:28-30. And it reads, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So the first instruction he gave in this passage was come to me. Come to me. Come to me. And sometimes it's hard to get in a place of rest when the things you see don't look like what you've been asking for. And I'm reminded about school shopping. My oldest son told me the other day, "I don't think my dad's gonna take us." I'm like, listen, the way your dad set up, he's not gonna let y'all go to school without having y'all new gear. You know, that's important. He knows that's important to y'all, so he's gonna make sure. They start school on Tuesday, today is Sunday. So yesterday he let the kids know, "I'm coming to pick y'all up tomorrow and take y'all shopping." Well, I knew he wasn't going to let them go to school without their new clothes because that's important to them. As long as they got clean clothes is what's important to us as parents, but to the kids, they got to have new clothes. But it was hard for him to rest because he couldn't see. He didn't have a time or date. He just knew his dad was supposed to take him. But it's easier to rest when you have insight, foresight of what's going to happen. But sometimes you don't know that. You just have to rest and believe and trust in what God told you. And so with Matthew 28, chapter 11, verse 28, the first instruction he gives us is to come to him. And if you read some of these passages, he'll give you instructions and he'll say what he'll do. But first you need to come to me. It says, "Come to me," and I'm going to break down the words weary, burdened, and yoke. "Come to me, all who are burdened," meaning all who are exhausted in strength, come to me, "and loaded heavily." I'm sorry, I'm going to back up. I messed it up. Matthew 11:28. The first word was weary. That's what I'm going to break down first. Come to me, all who are exhausted in strength, meaning you're weary, you're tired. Come to me. And burden, meaning your load is heavy. You're carrying a heavy load. Come to me, all who are exhausted in strength and loaded heavily, carrying a heavy load, and I will give you, allow you rest. I will allow you to cease work in order to relax, refresh yourself, and recover in strength. Take my yoke meaning to join. He's asking you to come with him. Join with him and learn from him. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest. That word again. Ceasing to work in order to relax, refresh, and recover. All he's asking us to do is partner with him. When we get exhausted, when we're carrying too much, come to me is what he's saying. And I will give you, meaning I will allow you to rest. I will allow you to stop working so that you can recover and renew your strength. And we try and do it on our own, and it wasn't meant to be that way. And that's when we get tired. And I remember telling my mother, I'm just tired, just crying. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. And she asked you, what you tired about? Like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired. And she said, you're tired because you're trying to do it in your own strength. And we weren't meant to do it on our own. He's asking us to partner with him, to trust him, and to believe him. And he will make our loads light. He will give us rest. He will allow us to stop working, to recover, refresh, renew our strength. He will ease our load. And I will put the Bible scriptures in the description so you can refer back to them. You can write them down on index cards. I'm a stickler for index cards. That helped me through nursing school. But rest. And not just rest, but rest well. Rest well. Ceasing to work in order to relax, recover, refresh, renew your strength in a good or a satisfactory way. So don't just rest. Rest well. And trust the Lord will give you the strength to do so. I hope this message helped you. Listen to it as many times as you need to. I can't tell you how many times I play videos over and over, and each time I seem to catch something different. And I hope this helped you all. I will talk to you later. Take care.